Yeah, so I have been 5 plus years of experience in IT where I worked as an full stack backend majorly into the .NET with the 5 plus years, React with the 3 years, majorly with the cloud services from Azure side, multiple Azure services I worked, AKS, AKS, then Key Vaults, Kubernetes, app services virtual machine, app configurations, firewall like and web policies, uh, SQL, multiple. I mean SQL
Mm-hmm.
services. I also have a certification there for the Azure cloud. I have a multiple experience into the multiple project domains like ATech product, CRM projects, and the
Okay.
currently working with the it's an manufacturing domain. So the project is like IoT based project I'm currently working on.
Okay. Would you like to share your screen and maybe open Notepad or something? I have pasted a scenario.
String
So
created
you've got
first.
given a string. We need to find the first non-repeating character. There could be
Okay,
multiple non-repeating, but the first one we need to print.
first non-repeating.
Copy the entire question and you can paste it here.
Dictionary of character. Int word. Okay, my god. You continue. Continue. Okay, okay. If 0 to value is not equal to 1 means that is a double. Then continue. If I found that is so right. So dot key first. Yeah, so this function will give me a first not repeating character from the sorry, I'll just miss to add a break. So it will immediately break the after finding.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got the
that's it.
point. Yeah, that's good. So you primarily worked on .NET side or React side?
Primarily .NET.
Okay. So on .NET, let's say
Yeah.
there's a UI, maybe written in React or something. Is my voice clear or some background is coming?
No. No micro noise from your side.
Okay. Okay. So let's say a user is requesting for some data or maybe sending a data through
Okay.
our .NET Backend API, and you know once it reaches to the .NET API, and then eventually it goes to the SQL Server. So can you walk me through the end-to-end process, how exactly things work eventually before it
So
reaches to the database?
okay. So your application uh, try to connect database, but when you get request, right, and you want how the flow goes. So if you have the APM gateway management at the cloud, so whatever your request goes to that APM gateway. In APM gateway, we will redirect it to the OpenID where the auth is there. So you will get and validate it based on the credentials. You will get an JWT token. Now the data will come back to the your APM gateway management. It will segregate your data like credentials, header, issuer, and the expiry date access token. These are passed to the header of the request. That request goes to the microservice. Now in microservice,
Mhm.
we are getting validated by the map like map controller, so we will find the appropriate endpoint for that request. Now request goes to that controller, and in that controller it will goes to that particular API endpoint, and in the
Yeah.
API you will like perform the DB operation that will goes to the data column.
Okay. So, for instance, let's say uh, we have got several controllers, and all of them has got to be authenticated before
Hmm.
a user access any controller. Okay. Would you use filter or else?
uh, can you repeat your question again?
So let's say there are multiple controllers out there, and we want to authenticate and then only authorize the user to make any changes, or let's say pull data or
Yes.
send data or whatever. Okay.
Yes.
So to achieve this, will you use middleware or filter?
Middleware. So in middleware, I will validate the credentials. I will validate the authentication. Then I will validate the authorization. Role-based permissions are there or not. If
Mhm.
user is having an permission to particular operation,
Mm.
so it will get validated, and then later on, he can perform DB operation to modify the data.
Okay. So why would you not use filter?
Filter, filter basically like mm, like performance wise, my middleware will work better. Like it works on top of your HTTP request. So HTTP request context will be easily captured and perform faster in middleware compared to the filter. So middleware will give you in faster performance, and the it's in lightweight. So that's why majorly we basically in nowadays middleware are used for
More.
the authentication and authorization.
On let's say JavaScript or React side, uh, do you know the difference between varlet and const?
Uh, where where and const to the JavaScript side you're asking?
Yeah, yeah. These three variables we used to. I mean, these are the
Uh,
keywords we use to define variables. When would you use var, let, and const?
where if I want to change on time, right, dynamically values are getting updated, so I don't need to mention the return type or parameter data type. So in that case, I will use
Okay.
the where, and if I want to make sure the data type is prefixed, so in that case, I will use the const.
Okay. And when would you use let?
Late, not able to exactly recall it.
Ah, this one. Okay. Do you know the concept of closures in JavaScript?
Fuses,
Closures.
users.
Closure. Closure concept have you heard?
No, actually, I'm not able to exactly recall the fuser in JavaScript.
Closure.
Closer,
CLOSURE.
closer,
Closure.
close. Okay, closure it's like a function, like you are having a function. So from the closure you can access outside the variables. So it's kind of the function like you mentioned. You can declare into the JavaScript and the scope are related. Whatever basically from the outside scope you can access into the closure statement, and the scope you declare inside the function scope, so that will be accessible inside that. Outside it is not accessible.
Okay. And when you use map filter and reduce,
uh, Map filter,
map
um,
and then filter and then reduce. These three are there, which is commonly
inside
used.
the JavaScript. Reduce, some like I used a reducer, like reduce at the managing in global state. So that time I used a reducer mapped. If I want to, iterate data in my JavaScript, so to like iterating, and I want to particular a single object is going to be passed in that function. So I will. It's like an iterating, like for each loop, right? So uh, uh, using an arrow based operator that will be uh, perform the like map single, basically single object is getting passed inside the scope, and that will be perform further operations. Other I'm not exactly recalling it.
I get it. I get it. I mean, when we work, sometimes we forget. I get the point. uh, so, do you know the concept of how exactly what we call that event loop? Okay. You know the concept of event loops in JavaScript.
Event loops. As per the event loops, I mean, basically any event occur. Actually, I'm not able to recall it,
I got it.
uh, but as per the naming
But
convention
actually,
itself, like
definition is, but it's different. It's actually different. It's a very interesting concept, very important one. You can go through it. You can get it.
yes, yes.
Have you used spread operator
Spread
by
operator.
any chance? Yeah, there's an operator which we often use in JavaScript called the spread operator.
Uh,
Okay. Okay. So
Not able to exactly recalling it. I might
I
be
understand.
used till now,
You must have
but
used it, but you
yeah,
can't recall the name.
not able
That's
to.
fine. That's fine. I get it. I get it. So, do you know the difference between props and state?
Stick. Are not. Are these related to the layout or some? Yes.
No,
Okay.
no problem. So, on the React side, you must have used components. So, what is the component lifecycle?
Like there are three life cycle. Like one is the mounting, second one is the update, third one is
Uh,
the unmounting. In first one, like we like do like uh, did component on like component can component on mount constructor render, and did component can component unbound. Exactly last one I'm not able to recall it. The second is
hmm.
like an update. So like we check should we update the component render. We uh, uh, Component get updated. The third one is um, like
That's it.
unmounting.
That's it.
So should we unmount render
Unmounted.
component did unmount.
Uh, exactly. Okay, on the React side, so you know the concept of controlled and uncontrolled control components. So there are two
Control
concepts in the, you must have heard of. No?
yeah, so control component are uh, like using in use take hook. Uncontrolled component are maintained by the use reference. I mean, in a control component, like what are the waveforms data are getting, i- performed by using an use state. So whatever the inputs are getting there, so those data inputs are uh, basically multiple elements values are getting stored or reutilized using an use take hook.
Mhm.
So using an inside use take hook, like we mentioned, the variable and set variable, that variable can access, and set variable basically I want to update that constant. Now coming
Okay.
back to the reference use ref, like on demand, like it preserve data um, onto the DOM itself, so I don't need it to re-render. So basically persisting object values at the render level, and
Mhm.
it will uh, it will focus to the particular elements. So whatever the uncontrolled forms are there, that can be taken care by the use ref.
Oh, oh. So do you know the difference between context API versus Redux, and when would you use which?
I mean, I worked where the Redux was there, where
Mhm.
I was storing data at the global level. Basically, both are
Okay.
used to store data at the global level. Basically, maintaining its state. I used the Redux for the persisting and values which are initially was passing by URL. So there was an string URL, and the URL is containing some credentials. So that credentials are getting uh, added basically at the URL level. That was causing a privacy issue, and later on using Redux, uh, we are maintaining the credentials at the global level. So we don't want to showcase the uh, data to the user, end user, and in a backend, in the background, we are maintaining the state. Suppose I'm traveling from one page to another page, like navigating from one page to another page. That time,
Mhm.
the Redux is help me to persist some data. That data I can modify and create by from scratch, and that I was using to call the backend APIs. Basically, in backend APIs, I was trying to pass the JWT tokens. Okay, so this data I was storing into the Redux. Compared to the context API, I never used that,
Okay.
but
Okay.
I'm aware that
That's
it is relative to the global state management.
statement. Yes. Okay. So let's say you want to cancel an API. Okay. The API request was already there,
Mhm.
and you want to cancel it after the component is unmounted. How would you achieve that?
Request API you want to cancel, and on
Yeah.
component is unmounted.
Yes, sir.
Um, okay, so uh, when component unmounted and I want to cancel, so while closing that component, so at the the closing that component, there is functionality that will clear the instances for that component. From that, I think we can call the cancel API to request, or for example, use effect is there, right? If any dependency occur, basically the component did unmount, I will mention dependency into the use effect dependency. If
Mhm.
component did unmount, that time I will perform the API call to cancel the operation.
On Azure side, what are the services you have used?
I have used Kubernetes and then AKS, Kubernetes AKS, Key Vault App Config, virtual
Mhm.
machines, app services, storage account, application insights for the logging and monitoring purpose,
Mhm.
alerts based on the logs, alerts,
Mhm.
then web policies for the security purpose. And then I worked on the energy and network security group for
Okay. Okay.
individual other services to maintain the incoming outgoing traffic. Yeah,
Okay.
likewise I have worked on
Sure.
also Redis
Thank you,
caching.
Rohan.
Yeah,
Okay. Perfect.
thanks. Yeah,
Thank you, Rohan. I will update HR with my review and we'll get back
yes,
to you.
sure.
Thanks.
Thanks.